Hi, and welcome to the Indie Music Podcast, the podcast for independent musicians and other audio professionals. We're your hosts. I'm Matt Denton, also known as Mojo of Ragged Birds Music. I'm a Bay Area mix engineer and recording artist. And Douglas Reynolds of Resonance Mastering, a mastering engineer in Bloomington, Illinois.
In this episode, we talk about our 2020 Season 1 end-of-year recap, studio updates and design ideas, upcoming interviews, podcast topic ideas for upcoming episodes, and we ask that you spread the word on your social channels about Indie Music Podcast and the content that we provide every Monday on all major streaming platforms. All right, recording in my DAW is on and recording in Zoom.
All right, I also am recording now. I think I'm recording. Check. Yes, recording. Hey.
Yeah. So how do you do this?
How do you do this again? What is the button I click? Hey, Doug, how you doing, man?
I'm doing really good, Matt.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, welcome to 2021.
Yeah, 2 days in, we are kicking it right off with a refresher course for us in how to do a podcast. Like, what do I click? What button? It was such a habit before that I didn't really have to think about anything, and now I'm like, where's my template? Which microphone am I using? It's funny. It's funny.
Did you have a good end of year holiday season? How did everything go for you?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's been I guess I'm loud. It's kind of been a mixed feeling of, finally I get some time off to not think about work. I'm going to take a break and recharge and regroup and retool, and also going, wow, now I have this time to do all the things that I wanted to do at the end of the year, and I got to get going on all these things. I've got a list. So it's been kind of vacillating back and forth between those two things. So I've gotten some productive things done, but also rested and relaxed and done some yard work and some woodworking and worked on a puzzle and watched some football, but also got comfortable here in the studio doing some mixes at the end of the year and some
Fantastic.
other stuff. So it's been good. How about you?
Yeah, the holiday was just kind of a nice downtime. I spent a lot of time working in the studio, which is now back together.
Yeah, it looks great.
And yeah, thank you. And it's a little bit even more than what I was hoping for, because I was able to kind of set up a guitar and amplifier area and kind of motivated for more focus in my own music in 2021, which I know I had back in 2020, and it just kind of everything went downhill and along with my motivation. And
yeah,
for reasons that I was really focused on the studio and mastering and developing the business. So it was intentional in some ways as well. But so I feel really good, though, because my motivation level is really high. I feel like I'm hitting the ground running. And for the most part, it was a really good end to the year. And I had a nice transitional period where I could spend the time focusing on the things that I needed to for setup and changes in gear and everything. Everything in the studio is reorganized, and I feel really good about it.
Well, that's good. Yeah, no, it's been fun to watch the progress of your mastering studio take shape and get painted and cleaned up and dialed in. And I know you're still kind of dialing it in a little bit, but it definitely sounds like it's working for both mastering and some podcast production right now.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I've invited my wife to come to the studio and assist me in the areas that I suck at interior design type of things. And, to help me, I want to put like some plant down, in the studio.
I was just going to say, I could use a plant.
Yeah, I need some plants and lighting and, other things. And I just think that she's much more capable at those types of things that kind of make the studio more
comfortable.
Personal and have personality and homey and comfortable and not as stagnant as what it is right now, because it's definitely there's nothing going on here but audio. So
Now remember, every plant you add, you're going to have to get REW out and remeasure, recalibrate your room.
yeah, well, it'll be good. They're they're a diffuser.
Yep.
I expect it to be quite functional. So I'm looking forward to, getting some things, get some tall plants up in the front wall and help with, direct reflections and things like that. So yeah,
Cool.
definitely don't discount plants and other types of decoration that can help you acoustically in your studio.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, if it's got to be functional, why not look good as well? And I think I think plants always kind of add a kind of life and vibe to any room, really. Although I will say that you're in a basement, so I know that some plants do well without light. Like pyracantha is a good plant for not needing much light or water, frankly.
Yeah, I'm on the fence. I may go entirely artificial.
Yeah.
But I may add some lights, some floor standing lights that have some full spectrum bulbs in them, and see how that goes with real plants, and put those on timers or something like that.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
As long as the bulbs themselves don't like emit some sort of
high frequency
yeah. interference or something like that.
Yeah.
So there may be some LEDs. I'm a fan of LEDs in the studio because they don't introduce any of that type of thing. And perhaps there's some full spectrum LED style.
I think so. And they make warmer ones now.
Use.
I mean, once incandescents became kind of off the market, manufacturers got really creative with bulbs. And I know because as winter set in, I had to do a lot of light bulb replacement and shopping. So I was kind of overwhelmed by the amount of choices there are now for just general light bulbs. All kinds of color spectrum choices and stuff.
Yeah. So I know you've done a lot in yours, and especially I love your
Christmas lights.
Your Christmas lights.
I love them too.
I think they're the best, and things like that. And, I think those are all good ideas about how to bring, in a space where you got to spend a lot of time.
Yep.
To make it comfortable and fun. Those type of things are, I think, important.
Yeah, it's funny. This is, we've talked about this before, how this was kind of like a dual purpose room, or at least, at the very least, dual purpose. Half of it literally is the music side and half of it is the study side. Well, the study side, I've been very careful to keep it as pristine and Spartan as possible so that it's a meditative, contemplative place. When you go and sit on the other side of the room and face that window, you are in a very relaxed place. And so I think that it's good to have multiple spaces. I didn't know that you were going to have a guitar area. I think that wasn't part of your original plan, but I'm glad that you've incorporated that because I think we had kind of parallel situations where we both intended to do original music last year, and it was on our to-do list, and neither one of us really got very far because we got focused on business and podcasts and just general life as things changed and evolved. But much progress was made. It was just COVID. COVID, exactly. I was trying not to say that, but we both made huge progress on home studio stuff, and that's not nothing. That can't be discounted as a fail. That's a total win, but it was definitely not the thing that either one of us probably thought that was going to happen at the beginning of the year.
Well, it's a matter of, taking the situation of COVID and how that impacted your studio. And for me, that was, I'm not seeing anyone in my studio anymore. So artists aren't coming here. I basically don't do recording anymore. Yeah. And so I've got the vocal booth area is now my amplifier booth, and which works out great. So I've got a place for that. It's set back. It's out of the way of, with regards to my mastering desk and things like that. It's behind me, and so it's not interfering with the acoustics or the audio in any way, which is my main concern. Anything that could be affecting how sound is behaving in the room is my first priority. But so I was able to behind me place, my amplifiers and guitars. I got a new guitar rack for Christmas. I've always wanted. That's so cool. It's the Hercules 5 guitar stand, and you can actually fit more than 5 in there if you purchase the accessory little brackets for the neck and pads and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But for me, it's perfect for 5 guitars, and I've got plenty of room in between each guitar to safely take them in and out of the stand. And so, yeah, so it's really cool. And it's just, I basically can grab a guitar, it's hooked up. I flip a switch, grab a guitar, and I can be sitting down. I've got a microphone set up on it. And so, as we've talked before, I'm just making it easy to remove roadblocks to creative moments.
Yeah, totally. I think that's super important. I did want to ask you why you chose to get a stand and not hang them on the wall. And I think I know the answer, but I just wanted to ask.
Well, I'd love to have them hanging on the wall because I think that looks fantastic, but acoustically, I'm concerned about resonations of the guitar bodies. I have hollow body guitars as well as solid body.
Right.
And I think the solid body guitars are going to introduce interesting, reflections that could be, unexpected things. And I don't want to have to deal with that. And then the hollow body guitars that I have, those are definitely going to resonate. And I wanted to avoid having that type of thing introduced into the sound stage of the studio.
Yeah, I figured that was the reason. It would kind of make the sound a little less predictable, bouncing off the walls.
Yeah. So
very cool.
Yeah, but that's the primary reason. But I'm really happy that it looks fantastic in the stand. It's nice. They are kind of on display. I want it to look nice. That's been the whole thing too. I want it to be functional and everything ergonomic and comfortable and functional. And it has to be all of those things. I think none of those weigh more or less than the others. It's all important to me, And so when I got done with this, I wanted to have the whole package and not have to make sacrifices in some way. Not hanging guitars on the wall, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, no, it looks great already. But yeah, I think a plant would look cool. And I'm curious to see what your final lighting design is. I know that's not the most urgent part of your build out, but
yeah, I don't know when that'll happen. I would like to be able to turn off the studio wall lights and then illuminate with some other nice way. I'd like the studio to be a little bit darker because the wall lights that I have give off great light, and a lot of times I want it to be very bright, so it helps me read and things like that. But other times I just want to bring that down and focus on my ears,
right,
and what they're hearing, and and have some subdued lighting, and we'll see what that ends up being.
Yeah,
I'm kind of thinking LEDs, with some indirect wall splash type of things, with lighting that's coming from behind the acoustic panels, such.
Yeah, I think that sounds really cool. Well, let's talk a minute about the fact that this is the first episode of season 2.
It is.
And we're going to go with a new numbering scheme.
We are.
Along the lines of what they do in TV, where they number by season and then episode. So this is going to be episode 201.
201.
Instead of 54. We stopped
Instead
at
of 54.
Yeah. We have some exciting ideas for how we're going to do season 2. Did you want to mention that at all?
Well, the ideas that I had for this, to begin with, is we have an interview for episode 202, the second episode of 2021. And we'll be meeting with and having a fun discussion with a band by the name of Fleming Jenkins Band and the recording studio, the Recording Den, who did all of their production work and recording and mixing. And really looking forward to that. We're hoping that becomes kind of an informative episode. We'll learn about Fleming Jenkins Band and their music and talk about the production aspects of that with the recording and production engineer. And they're really great folks. So I'm looking forward to getting together with them here this next week. So that's definitely exciting.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
We had talked about wanting to do a little some more interviews this season. And I have one lined up for, I don't know which episode it will be yet, but we have a voiceover artist who's very excited to come on and talk about how to get started in a voiceover career.
That's going to be so interesting. I think VO
so
is
too.
Just like, it's fan. There's some great YouTube channels on that. And I find myself drawn to those, the ones that are fun and entertaining, and they talk about how to do voiceover. It's a lot of of gear comparison and microphones and
Right.
things like that for, what best microphones to use for different types of VO work and sound booth aspects of building sound booths and things like that. It's really pretty neat. So I'm looking forward to hearing what comes out of that interview.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm excited too. I actually, you know what? I have this. My son, I mentioned, has a masterclass subscription he got through school for $1 for a year. So I've been taking all these master classes, and I just finished the one with a new one with Nancy Cartwright about how to do voiceover acting. So, yeah, it's all interesting stuff. All interesting stuff.
Some other ideas that I had for upcoming episodes are based on things I'm interested in. That's always the case. It's what am I interested in? What do I think is cool and might be interesting, for others to listen about? And it's always things that I've been involved in or working on myself, or I feel I have some level of knowledge that I can share and maybe provide something of value to someone else. And of those, I thought that maybe talking about how to save money, making your own audiophile quality cables for your studio or for your instruments or whatever that may be. We could talk about, on the same line as cables, balanced and unbalanced and single-ended signal cables.
Oh,
and
let's
what's the
definitely do
difference.
an episode on cables.
Yeah.
I had questions about cables yesterday that I couldn't answer.
Yeah, so we could get into that. DA and AD conversion is foremost on my mind right now. I think I've gone through a really deep dive focus in DA and AD and what that means in the studio and how important it is. And, obviously studio calibration. And I know we've hit on that before, but I thought it really deserves a deeper dive and talking about, and that's probably a multi-episode topic to discuss the different aspects of studio calibration and why it's important and how to achieve a well-calibrated studio.
Yeah, that's a great idea, especially knowing how the software to do that is free and the microphone that you need to do that is inexpensive. So
yeah,
there's no reason not to do that. If you're
beyond
serious.
that, I was thinking on outboard gear and hybrid chains and working in both analog and digital topologies.
Cool.
We get into, that kind of brings in things like, how do you connect all this stuff together? And patch bays are, patch bays are a topic that it can be really difficult to get your head around. And it would probably be kind of difficult to discuss in the format of podcasts. But I want to take it on because I think that that's a challenge to see if we can effectively describe to the listener how a patch bay can help them and some of the concepts of how patch bays work and incorporating them. Because really, you can get a very, very nice patch bay for $100 or less. And the things that patch bays bring to you in the studio and with flexibility and is really valuable. So hopefully we can figure out a way to convey that through audio.
Well, let's try.
Spoken word. Yeah, I think it's worth a try. And I think there's a certain amount of risk in doing that because there's a lot of detail and try to description in that. So, but I think it could be fun making the attempt.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. And I want to say that, hey, if you're out there and you listen to this podcast and you have some ideas about what you'd like to hear, what you want us to talk about, what questions you have that you'd like us to answer, topics to cover, or even if you're interested in being interviewed as an indie musician or audio professional, let us know through our website or on social. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, that's always something I really want to push this year is that interaction with our listeners and working on getting more conversations going. I know that we've talked to Steve, and we're going to be looking at more activity in our Twitter profile.
Yep,
trying to be more interactive with our followers there. We're also upping our Instagram content aspirations, and yeah, in that case, it looks like my son's gonna join in and start helping us out with the Instagram account, and to the same end goal of being more interactive and bringing more content out to our listeners and reaching more new listeners.
Excellent.
And definitely. And those of you that, are currently listening to this now, we would love your help in sharing about the podcast. And, those links are on our website, and you can find us on social. You know where we are because you've been listening to us. But help us grow. We would like to definitely reach a larger audience.
Yeah, spread the love. We're not making any money on this. We just want to help you out, help the community, and help the community grow. So if you feel like this is a valuable resource, as we do, definitely share it and pass it on to other people who would also appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that sounds good, Doug.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for season 2.
We'll kind of get started here on a shorter episode, easy for our listeners to sort of come into and not have a long-winded Doug conversation of something.
Oh, we'll get there at some point. Yeah.
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 I have the urge to keep this going somehow,
I know. Oh, we finally got warmed up after taking a break we finally figured it back out. Yeah. No, I'm very excited for season 2. Season 1 was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed just talking with you every week and getting some topics worked out, and I learned a lot.
Yeah, definitely learned a lot, and hopefully we can take our experience and what we've learned and bring it in and improve the show coming into season 2, and hopefully it just continues to get better.
Absolutely. So we will see you next week here, and enjoy, and I hope that your New Year's went well.
Yeah, Happy New Year's, and look forward to catching up with you in episode 202.
That's right.
Which is every Monday. We'll be releasing a new episode every week of the year.
Absolutely.
Until we take a break next year.
Yeah, right. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening.
All right.
Thanks for spreading the word. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Indie Music Podcast. Please like and subscribe, share with your friends, or just leave us a review on iTunes if you like what you've heard. Find our social links and episode guide at indiemusiccast.com. Until next time, keep creating.